I gave myself a little bit of freedom. I finally took off the bandage there. Pete, hello and welcome to you. If you're still here now, J is such an interesting letter. Is it Kojote, like Japanese? Is this more of an H, J, or a Y? Is it like coyote, just with a J? Let me know how best to pronounce your name, Pete. And if you want, I can touch back on druids after I go through the wizards here. And also, all this stuff will end up on YouTube, ! YouTube. If you want to go there, I have all sorts of workshops and games that we play, and it's all up there. Yes. You. I'm gonna call you Pete then. It's either Coyote, Cojote, or Kojote. Either way, it's nice to meet you. I raise a Kroger no-name store brand zero sugar root beer to you, Pete. Thank you for joining us. All right, we're taking a look. We're taking a look at things and stuff. Wizards, and the stuff we talked about before, we can touch upon, but let me review this first, and we'll come back around to it. Cheers! Well, here, I got a cheer. We have, there we go. 2 different cheers. Wizards are defined by their exhaustive study of magic's inner workings. They cast spells of explosive fire, arcing lightning, subtle deception, and spectacular transformations. Their magic conjures monsters from other planes of existence, glimpses the future, or forms protective barriers. Their mightiest spells change one substance into another, cull meteors from the sky, or open portals to other worlds. Most wizards share a scholarly approach to magic. They examine the theoretical underpinnings of magic, particularly the categorization of spells into schools of magic. Renowned wizards such as Bigby, Tasha, Mordenkainen, and Yolande have built on their studies to invent iconic spells now used across the multiverse. The closest a wizard is likely to come to an ordinary life is working as a sage or lecturer. Other wizards sell their services as advisors, serve in military forces, or pursue lives of crime or domination. But the lure of knowledge calls even the most unadventurous wizards from the safety of their libraries and laboratories and into crumbling ruins and lost cities. Most wizards believe that their counterparts in ancient civilizations knew secrets of magic that have been lost to the ages. Discovering those secrets could unlock the path to a power greater than any magic available in the present age. Alright, same as the other. Level 1 character, multi-classing. It's great that those are in here at the beginning. You gain the following at level 1 spellcast. What, as a wizard? Oh, this edition is broken. Come on. Spellcasting at level 1 as a wizard? Man, what's wizards coming to these days? Wah, wow. You know, 3 wizard cantrips. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace one of your cantrips. So this has been an ongoing thing. This is something that I mean when I say something like it might not be truly spectacle creep. It's not exactly power creep. Because the cantrips, as far as I know, haven't changed. Ray of Frost isn't going to a D10 like Eldritch Blast. We're not talking about a mechanical power. But we do have this... There is really no permanence. Everything is modal or modular. A lot of things can just be changed in between days, levels, or whatever. Even more than it was in the 2014. And so it doesn't mechanically make the... Pardon me. It doesn't mechanically make the wizard more powerful. It makes the wizard and all these other classes more adaptive, meaning that there are less opportunities to overcome resistance or a flaw or creative thinking around a failure because of the ability to change things so much. So it's an approach of nothing is a thing because it's whatever you want it to be at any point in time. Is that bad? It certainly... It makes it so all of the characters are adaptive. Maybe I've just been around the sun enough times... where I know what it's like to not have the right tool for the job, but to have that glorious moment of overcoming a situation because you weren't just given the tool or the whatever the thing was, or that you had to find a creative you don't have to find a creative way around something. I feel like those are opportunities that are more lost with the widespread adaptability of the classes. This is an observation. This isn't a condemnation. This doesn't ruin the book. It's something, though, that I feel... I feel that there are more lost opportunities because of the major adaptability. Alcahest says, little kid stuff, you don't even have to prove your system mastery before casting. Alcahest says, having to pick at a rest, I feel, makes it so you can still surprise the wizard player. Yeah, yes, that is the case. But at that point, it feels more like an antagonizing than simply we understand that this is what it is. And the question is, what are you going to do about it? That's not, oh, I'm going to mem a new cantrip tomorrow. I, speaking for me, and only me, I like creative approaches or people overcoming adverse situations. So, is this a game ruiner? No. It makes all the classes more adaptable. And, for a player, then there you go. You don't have more slots in your tool belt, but you have more tools at the same time. It's a juggling act. I feel from a broader perspective, and maybe as someone who's speaking more as the storyteller, as the DM, I feel like this kind of flexibility hurts opportunities for innovation and creativity. and instead replaces it with raw power. Because now you have everything you need at any point in time, relatively speaking. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm not, but, no. Anyway, you get another cantrip at 4 and 10. See, actually, even to this point, why be limited in your cantrips? Why even be limited in how many cantrips you have? Because now, isn't this just an arbitrary speed bump of waiting a day? Because you technically have all cantrips? I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm not looking to nitpick. I don't know. Spellbook, your wizardly apprenticeship culminates in the creation of a unique book. Your spellbook. It is a tiny object that weighs 3 pounds, contains 100 pages, and can be read only by you or someone casting Identify. You determine the book's appearance and materials, such as gilt-edged tome or a collection of vellum bound with twine. Pardon. The book contains the level 1 spells you know. It starts with 6 level 1 wizard spells of your choice. Whenever you gain a wizard level after 1, add 2 wizard spells of your choice to your spell book. Each of these spells must be of a level for which you have spell slots, as shown in the wizard feature table. The spells are the culmination of arcane research you do regularly. Spell slots. The wizard features table shows how many spells... Okay, so yeah, that's on the table coming up. Prepared spells is also there. Well, we'll have to check out and see which cantrips made it into the spell list in this edition. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can change your list of prepared spells, replacing any of the spells there with spells from your spell book. Spellcasting ability Intelligence is your spellcasting ability for your wizard spells, and you can use an arcane focus. For your spell book as a spellcasting focus for your wizard spells. Level 1 Ritual Adept. You can cast any spell as a ritual if that spell has the ritual tag and the spell is in your spell book. You needn't have the spell prepared, but you must read from the book to cast a spell in this way. Arcane Recovery. You can regain some of your magical energy by studying your spell book. When you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. The spell slots can have a combined level equal to no more than half your wizard level round up, and none of the slots can be level 6 or higher. For example, if you're a level 4 wizard, you can recover up to 2 levels worth of spell slots, regaining either 1 level 2 spell slot or 2 level 1 spell slots. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Level 2, you're a scholar. While studying magic, you also specialized in another field of study. Choose one of the following skills in which you have proficiency: Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, or Religion. You have expertise in the chosen skill. I like that. Wizard subclass at 3, because all the classes get subclasses at 3 now. And we'll get to those. ASI at 4, 8, 12, and 16. That is as that is. Memorize spell. Whenever you finish a short rest, you can study your spell book and replace one of the level 1+ wizard spells you have prepared for your spellcasting feature with another level 1+ from the book. And then 18, spell mastery. You have achieved such mastery over certain spells that you can cast them at will. Choose a level 1 and a level 2 spell in your spell book that have a casting time of an action. You always have those spells prepared, and you can cast them at their lowest level without expending a spell slot. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend a spell slot. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can study your spell book and replace one of those spells with an eligible spell of the same level. So again, you know, you're not locked in, but it feels weird, or it feels grating. You have mastery over these two spells, except any of the other spells that you want to have be your mastered spells. I feel like there's a certain, you know, you go in, you have what you have, and sometimes it's not enough and it sucks, but that encourages that creativity, or it's a part of your personality, of your character that you lean into. But this is very flexible. Anything can be anything. So, I don't know. If I have a gripe, this is what leans into the soft power creep. Maybe we should call it that way instead of spectacle creep. It's in soft power creep, indirect power creep. You're not more powerful, but you are more adaptive, which is its own kind of power. Because then you can do more things more often than you could before. Epic boon at 19, as you do. Capstone is signature spells. Choose 2 level 3 spells in your spell book as your signature spells. You always have these spells prepared, and you can cast each of them once at level 3 without expending a spell slot. When you do so, you can't cast them this way again until you finish a short or long rest. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend a spell slot. This was a nice touch, adding the class spells with the class. Alright, 4 wizard subclasses, not 8. Abjurer. Your study of magic is focused on spells that block, banish, or protect, ending harmful effects, banishing evil influences, and protecting the weak. Abjurers are sought when baleful spirits require exorcism, when locations must be guarded against magical spying, and when portals to other planes of existence must be closed. Adventuring parties value abjurers for the protection they provide against a variety of hostile magic and other attacks. Abjuration Savant at 3. Choose 2 wizard spells from the Abjuration School, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spellbook for free. In addition, whenever you gain access to a new level of spell slots in this class, you can add 1 wizard spell from the Abjuration School to your spellbook for free. The chosen spell must be of a level for which you have spell slots. Alka says, I like the change a lot. Shield is no longer eligible for slotless now. Where that comes in really cool is that since they aren't cast with a spell slot, they don't count against the 1 spell with a spell slot per turn limit. From what, Alkahest? Where is that interaction taking place? Arcane Ward. You can weave magic around yourself for protection. When you cast an abjuration spell with a spell slot, you can simultaneously use a strand of the spell's magic to create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. The ward has a hit point maximum equal to twice your wizard level, plus your intelligence modifier. Whenever you take damage, the ward takes the damage instead. And if you have any resistances or vulnerabilities, apply them before reducing the ward's hit points. If the damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, you take any remaining damage. While the ward has 0 hit points, it can't absorb damage, but its magic remains. Whenever you cast an abjuration spell with a spell slot, the ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the level of this spell slot. Alternatively, as a bonus action, you can expend a spell slot, and the ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the level of the spell slot expended. Once you create the ward, you can't create it again until you finish a long rest. The first one was for the signature spells, level 1 and 2, but the spells have to be an action. And shield is a reaction. Okay. The second post was for, say, if you are going to cast Hunter's Mark as a bonus action, you could cast one of your slotless spells as an action in the same turn. Okay. All right. Thank you, Alcahest. Thank you for clarifying that. Projected ward. When a creature that you can see within 30 feet of yourself takes a damage, you can take a reaction to cause your arcane ward to absorb that damage. If this damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, the warded creature takes any remaining damage. If that creature has any resistances or vulnerabilities, apply them before reducing the ward's hit points. Spellbreaker. You always have the counterspell and dispel magic spells prepared. In addition, you can cast Dispel Magic as a bonus action, and you can add your proficiency bonus to its ability check. When you cast either spell with a spell slot, that slot isn't expended if the spell fails to stop a spell. And then at level 14, Spell Resistance, you have advantage on saving throws against spells, and you have resistance to the damage of spells. Okay. A diviner. The counsel of a diviner is sought by those who want a clearer understanding of the past, present, and future. As a diviner, you strive to part the veils of space, time, and consciousness. You work to master spells of discernment, remote viewing, supernatural knowledge, and foresight. Divination Savant. Choose 2 wizard spells from the Divination School. Okay, so same thing except that instead of Abjuration. Portent. Glimpses the future. Begin to press on your awareness. Whenever you finish a long rest, roll 2 d20s and record the numbers rolled. You can replace any d20 test made by you or a creature that you can see with one of the foretelling rolls. You must choose to do so before the roll, and you can replace a roll in this way only once per turn. Each foretelling roll can be used only once. When you finish a long rest, you lose any unused foretelling rolls. Expert Divination. Casting divination spells comes so easily that it expends only a fraction of your spell casting efforts. When you cast a divination spell using a level 2+ spell slot, you regain 1 expended spell slot. The slot you regain must be of a level lower than the slot you expended and can't be higher than level 5. The third eye at level 10. You can increase your powers of perception. As a bonus action, choose one of the following benefits, which lasts until you start a short or long rest. You can't use this feature again until you finish a short or long rest. Dark Vision to 120. Greater Comprehension, you can read any language. See Invisibility, you can cast See Invisibility without expending a spell slot. Level 14, Greater Portent. The visions in your dreams intensify and paint a more accurate picture in your mind of what is to come. Roll 3 d20s for your portent feature rather than 2. Evoker. Your studies focus on magic that creates powerful elemental effects such as bitter cold, searing flame, rolling thunder, crackling lightning, and burning acid. Some evokers find employment in military forces, serving as artillery to blast armies from afar. Others use their power to protect others, while some seek their own gain. Evocation Savant. So choose the 2 spells as you do. Potent Cantrip. Your damaging cantrips affect even creatures that avoid the brunt of the effect. When you cast a cantrip at a creature and you miss with the attack roll, or the target succeeds on a saving throw against the cantrip, the target takes half the cantrip's damage, if any, but suffers no additional effect from the cantrip. Kind of a cleaving cantrip. You're a barbarian wizard, or a fighter wizard. Yeah. Sculpt spells at 6. You can create pockets of relative safety within the effects of your evocations. When you cast an evocation spell that affects other creatures that you can see, you can choose a number of them equal to 1 plus the spell's level. The chosen creatures automatically succeed on their saving throws against this spell, and they take no damage if they would normally take half damage on a successful save. So this is I mean, it's baked into Wizard, but it's some of these metamagic sorcery properties, which I talked about last night too. I've noticed in the book there's a lot of sameness between various classes and subclasses, and which does provide redundancy that could be fine, but that does also make it feel as if there's not as much, I don't know, uniqueness or exclusivity to a particular class or subclass. Is that a game breaker that you can sculpt spells like a sorcerer with metamagic? No. Again, an observation, because we're looking at this, we're getting the bird's eye view, and we're just looking for patterns. We're looking for we're looking for the ideas and the ideals to the design. Whenever you cast a wizard spell from the evocation school, you can add your intelligence modifier to 1 damage roll of that spell. And over channel, you can increase the power of your spells when you cast a wizard spell with a spell slot of levels 1 to 5 that deals damage. You can deal maximum damage with that spell on the turn you cast it. The first time you do so, you suffer no adverse effect. If you use this feature again before you finish a long rest, you take 2d12 necrotic damage for each level of the spell slot immediately after you cast it. This damage ignores resistance and immunity. Each time you use this feature again before finishing a long rest, the necrotic damage per spell level increases by 1d12. You can increase the power of your spells when you cast a wizard spell with a spell slot of levels 1 to 5 that deals damage. You can deal maximum damage with that spell. Now, this is 14. It's not epic, but you're getting there. The first time you do so, you suffer no adverse effect. If you use this feature again before you finish a long rest, you take 2d12 necrotic damage for each level of the spell slot immediately after you cast it. Each time you use this feature again before finishing a long rest, the necrotic damage per spell level increases by 1d12. Okay. So per level, if you're d6, start at 6. I don't know. Let's say you have 8 hit points at 1. Well, I don't know. Wizards usually don't have a high con. So let's say you get all 6. Yeah, let's say you have a con of, I don't know, 1. That might not be bad for a wizard. So when you get this at level 14, you have 7. You have 13 extra levels of the 1, so we're at 20. And then we have half round up, which is 4. So 52 plus 20 is 72. So let's say by level 14 you have 72 hit points. You're in the back. You're probably not taking a lot of damage anyway. I know that these are presumptions. 2d12 necrotic. So that's going to be 6.5. So that's going to be 13 points of damage every level that you do this. So yeah, unless that seems like that would be punishing. That's 13 per spell level as well. 13 per spell level, and by the time you're 14, you can cast some doozies. So definitely in a pinch. I can see how this would down you. I wonder if that is exploitable. Because you can, unless you're playing with massive damage rules, you can take 11 billion damage, but you stop at 0. So I wonder what would keep you from getting up, maximizing your spell, and then dropping. You get up, you maximize your spell, either through a regen effect, or you have a cleric that goes after you, or whatever else. You get up, you just destroy yourself again, but you're just dropping nuke after nuke after nuke, but you can do it every turn because the hit points don't matter to a particular extent. The trade-off is there. I guess there's an immediacy trade-off, which is it's fine, especially for wizards. I wonder. It would be worth doing some math and experimenting if this is exploitable, where you just keep getting up because you just get a handful of hit points, and so what? You're going to drop again next time. So what if you take 6d12 damage? If you have a cleric, then your spell gains... Well, that's true unless you're under some sort of regen effect also. Now, that's super conditional, I understand. We're presuming a lot of things, and it can get into dangerous territory. Like, slippery slopes exist, and they're fine to consider, but slippery slope arguments can get messy really quickly, and I don't want to go down that road. But I wonder if the juice is worth the squeeze then, because the cleric would just be keeping the wizard up, and you're just dropping maximum damage all the time. I don't know. Interesting. So if it is level 14, it's not epic level yet. You're getting there. Yeah. Like, I don't want to break this to break it and be like, checkmate, wizards. Looks like your system's a 2 out of 10. Got 'em, boys. I'll need to reread. The maximum. If that was a rules, if that was baked into this edition, or if that was an option from death from massive damage. This seems like this is exploitable. Because remember, you only go to 0 hit points. You don't have to heal out of a deficit. So as long as the wizard gets back up with 1 hit point, if you're playing the game where you don't come back with exhaustion, or you don't have to make, a death saving throw, in between or whatever, this seems very exploitable. So I could be missing something, but this is I have a prodigious gut, but it's only a gut feeling that this is interesting. The idea works. I think the idea is cool. I think that this is a very exploitable idea, however. All right, and what about the illusionist? You specialize in magic that dazzles the senses and tricks the mind, and the illusions you craft make the impossible seem real. Choose 2 wizard spells. Okay, yep, as you do. There you go. You can cast illusion spells without providing verbal components. And if an illusion spell... this is improved illusion at level 3. And if an illusion spell you cast has a range of 10 plus feet, the range increases by 60 feet. You also know the minor illusion cantrip if you already know it. You learn a different wizard cantrip of your choice. The cantrip doesn't count against your number of cantrips known, although as we've discovered that doesn't really matter. You can create both a sound and an image with a single casting of minor illusion, and you can cast it as a bonus action. Phantasmal creatures. You always have the Summon Beast and Summon Fey spells prepared. Whenever you cast either spell, you can change its school to illusion, which causes the summoned creatures to appear spectral. You can cast the illusion version of each spell without expending a spell slot, but casting it without the slot halves the creature's hit points. Once you cast either spell without a spell slot, you must finish a long rest before you can gain the spell in that way again. The illusion I think some people really don't like because it has a bit of a focus on illusory creatures and feels like a summoner. I love it, but that's because of the way I've always wanted to play an illusionist, so it's laser targeted to me. Hard to be objective when they're buttering my bread. If you at least recognize that, though, Alcahest, you know, this doesn't have to be some struggle session where you're signing confession papers or whatever. If you understand that, though, that actually helps you be more objective, because you understand that this is my whole. This was made for me, and you can fit into it. And but if you're passionate about it and you can speak from a point of passion while realizing what's making you impassioned, I think that's perfectly fine. Illusory Self. When a creature hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to interpose an illusory duplicate of yourself between the attacker and yourself. The attack automatically misses you, then the illusion disappears. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. You can also restore your use of it by expending a level 2+ spell slot. And Illusory Reality. You have learned to weave shadow magic into your illusions to give them a semi-reality. When you cast an illusion spell with a spell slot, you can choose one inanimate, non-magical object that is part of the illusion and make that object real. You can do this on your turn as a bonus action while the spell is ongoing. The object remains real for 1 minute, during which it can't deal damage or give any conditions. For example, you can create an illusion of a bridge over a chasm and then make it real and cross it. Okay. So that concludes Wizard, and that concludes the classes. I've given my piece on the adaptability as an ongoing feature. Now, I think I've seen a lot of things, because I've been doing this with you all since 2018, that there are a lot of things that have been borrowed from Unearthed Arcana, which then distilled into, whatever Xanathars and Tashas and other things, into this the more refined over time version of 5e. I can see a lot of that here, especially things that are tied to your proficiency bonus that scales. This, I felt, gives each of these 4 types of wizards a very distinct you're not just a wizard with illusion spells. I do feel that these are more of an illusionist. This is more of an evoker. It leans more into what the concepts are. So I think that that is a strength. I think that this is a strength to this presentation. Now, power-wise, can a divination wizard in the 2014 and a diviner go toe-to-toe? I would think for the most part, yes. Because a lot of that adaptability requires time. If we're just taking a photograph of on one day, these two wizards are standing next to each other, I don't necessarily believe that one is more inherently powerful than the other. One has perhaps greater potential through the adaptability, and therefore over time has a greater soft power source. But I don't feel that this diviner absolutely blows the other one out of the water. Like, this is the definitive, if you're not playing this, you're not playing D&D, and why are you even here? Get out of here, scrub. I don't think it's like that. And I can tell after going through this that there was... I don't like some of the generic... again, there were patterns that we've seen throughout the classes that felt very samey, and I didn't really like that feeling, that pattern or jive. Though the subclasses do resonate with what it is. They do lean into what they are. Things like, for clerics, or for paladins here, you had a number of spells that was your charisma plus half your paladin or whatever, right? Outside of us talking about workshop stuff or going out of our way to show that it's fine to have these characters that have dump stats in their primary magic stat or whatever. I think in practice, almost no one did that. And so the spells were always going to be the same. So by going through and taking classes where the number of spells you could prepare were dependent on your, charisma, your wisdom or whatever, and it's now just a fixed number. This I don't feel as much a loss of, like, it carries that resentment of, like, well, I really do want to play that paladin that just doesn't have a lot of spells. I didn't have a lot and they'd be weaker because my charisma's lower. So how do I overcome this? Because now I'm given the adaptability. I'm given the spell slots, because more people than not just always maxed that out anyway. So could you always play with less? Of course you could. But that's also like, and I say this. I say this completely independent of any actual partisanship in U.S. politics. That's like having someone say, a rich person say tax the rich, and they go out of their way to take every conceivable deduction. They can pay more, right? They could, but they don't. I'm not making a political point. That is apolitical or bipartisan or whatever you want to say. It's that same kind of attitude here with, okay, well, I do want to play a scrappy paladin you know, I don't want all the spells that I could have. You could take fewer then, but will anyone actually do that? It's easier to just say it than do it. So there you go. Um, I'm pumped to play a champion fighter again. Was there something in fighter that you wanted me to go back and touch upon? For any of you out there, since we're sort of in this wrap up, we've read through the wizard. Did any of you have questions on like here's the druid? Did you have questions on the classes? Do you want me to look up a rule or a ruling? Otherwise, I can go to. I can go to the spells. Pete says there's some monster stat blocks for Wild Shape that were included in the PHB. How do they look? Alright. So we're going to touch back on druids. So we have beast shapes. The number of forms that you know. This is kind of like a spell book for druids. This was how I conceptualized and tried to get across that idea in the 2014 version. You know, because wizards and druids were on that same, you know, level 2 subclass, and you go from there. So this is sort of like your spell book. You have your max CR. So we'll take a look then at that. Let's take a look at the rules of Wild Shape real quick. So when you Wild Shape, you get your known forms. You know 4 beast forms for this feature, chosen from among the beast stat blocks. This does away with, so that's why it was like a spell book you could just add to it. That, you know, druids, if you spend a certain amount of time watching or being around the animals, you could add to it. This part here is treating it a little bit more mechanical, like, well, it's just here and there you go. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace one of your known forms with another eligible form. So you technically have all forms. You don't, but you do. You could turn into whatever you want. When you reach certain druid levels, your number of known forms and the maximum challenge rating for those forms increases, as shown in the beast shapes table. When choosing known forms, you may look in the monster manual or elsewhere for eligible beasts, if the dungeon master permits you to do so. And then there's the rules for it here. So if you're level 2 druid, let's take a look at a max challenge rating 1/4 spider. I think that one might be a little higher. No, that's CR1. Oh, what's a quarter? Here we go. The giant badger. Now you can see that the stats are written out this way. So you have the score. Then you have the mod and the save next to it as well. So as the DM, if you need to look up, oh, so yeah, what is the con save for the giant badger? It's there. With me, I mean, maybe the exception of strength. I get where maybe knowing the scores, if you wanted to pump it up, there's an argument to be made that a lot of this is redundant. Like, you don't need the scores, you just need the abilities. But this is what it looks like. It's very similar. Yeah, well, the moon druids do get accelerated shape shifting. Yeah, that's true. Although I'm trying to decipher what PB is standing for here. Oh yeah, proficiency bonus. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, proficiency. So, I might come into the calculations of CR. Does the matchup between Commoner and Cat still lean towards our Blade Toad overlords? Hey, Sierra, let's take a look. A Cat is a CR0, so we'll bear that in mind. Do we have a Commoner or some sort of peasant? I wonder. Oh, actually, here we go. PV is proficiency bonus. So there's not a commoner, but here you go anyway. So what? A human commoner has 10 and everything. So clearly the cat is already ahead. And considering that it gets a +4, it deals 1 slashing damage. It might be evened out now. The cat might actually, although it is a lot more nimble. So, hey, bruised beef. Does have that +2 initiative. That's true. Oh, cats have dark vision. Yeah, there you go. Also, hi, Blue Joy. So there you go. Against a human commoner, the cat would still win. Higher initiative, better senses, can jump farther, and is faster. And so the cat will be able to... the cat should be able to destroy a human commoner. Absolutely. This is very nice. This is a part of the organization to the book that I enjoy. Oddman, so the monsters have different stats and so on, but you have read the book. What do you think? Or do you have a summary and thoughts when you read it all the way? The only thing I don't think I've really read through would be the spell section. I don't know if they've really made the spells stronger mechanically. And they've probably borrowed spells from other books that came before to put into the base book here. Overall, Oddman, this is a good book. It is more powerful than the 2014. It is compatible, but it is also more powerful, and the primary source of power is through the adaptability of the characters. There is more that can be changed and modified and rewritten along the way with these characters than you could in 2014. So therefore, there is ultimately greater power for them. Circle of the Sea Druid. All right, Pete. And we can take a look at Conjure Minor Elementals then. Here, let's take a look at that Sea Druid real quick for you. So all the druids get special spells. So make from that what you will. If you want to go and clip this or take a screen cap, you're welcome to do so here. Level 3 Wrath of the Sea. As a bonus action, you can expend a use of your wild shape to manifest a 5-foot emanation that takes the form of an ocean spray that surrounds you for 10 minutes. It ends early if you dismiss it. No action required. Manifest it again or have the incapacitated condition. When you manifest the emanation, and as a bonus action on your subsequent turns, you can choose another creature you can see in the emanation. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or take cold damage. And if the creature is large or smaller, be pushed up to 15 feet away from you. To determine this damage, roll a number of d6s equal to your Wisdom modifier, minimum 1. Level 6, Aquatic Affinity. The size of the emanation created by your Wrath of the Sea increases to 10 feet. In addition, you gain a swim speed equal to your speed. Level 10, Stormborn. Your Wrath of the Sea confers 2 more benefits while active as listed below. Flight. You gain a fly speed equal to your speed. Resistance. You have resistance to cold, lightning, and thunder damage. And then at 14, Oceanic Gift. Instead of manifesting the emanation of Wrath of the Sea around yourself, you can manifest it around one willing creature within 60 feet of yourself. That creature gains all the benefits of the emanation and uses your spell save DC and Wisdom modifier for it. In addition, you can manifest the emanation around both the other creature and yourself if you expend 2 uses of your wild shape instead of 1 when manifesting it. Well, what? The fly spell is that level 3? Level... I could be wildly wrong. Or is it 5? No, level 3. Level 3 transmutation. So the level 10 flight, it's not breaking when you would get a fly spell anyway. And it's also equal to your speed, so this is a slower fly at that. It's also limited to your consuming the your wild shapes. I feel like in terms of player agency and class potency, the floor was raised a lot, so when people put together tier lists of classes and whatnot, you're going to see significantly less disparity. I agree with that, Alcahest. There are not as clear, like earlier. It was it you that was talking about playing a Way of the Four Elements monk? You know, so what were the things that nobody played? Element monks, maybe a shadow monk. People didn't play Beastmaster Rangers, and so there was a greater differential. And so, because everything's been made samey, a lot more samey anyway. Yeah, it is linked to your Wrath of Nature, Pete. And we'll take a look at Conjure Minor Elementals real quick here. All right. Well, it's not. There's no like. Oh wait, no, that's just Conjure. Oh, there it is. Conjure Minor Elementals. All right. Level 4. Concentration. You conjure spirits from the elemental planes that flit around you in a 15-foot emanation for the duration until the spell ends. Any attack you make deals an extra 2d8 damage when you hit a creature in the emanation. This damage is acid, cold, fire, or lightning, your choice in making the attack. In addition, the ground in the emanation is difficult terrain. Well, I guess unless you have a way to not also be hampered by the difficult terrain, you as the caster inside this emanation are also slowed. You're slowed down by it. Now, if you're hovering or you could fly, I guess I could see where you know. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. That is just for enemies also. Okay, that's just for enemies. So level 4, so that's what? 3 is level 2, 5 is level 3. So 7 is level 4. So by level 7 to 10, that's towards the end of most adventures. Since most people just play 1 to 10 games in campaigns. An extra 2d8 when any attack you make deals an extra, but it has to be in the emanation. So you would be a druid wielding a scimitar, or you could be in a animal form, because you can maintain concentration. You are at risk in melee, of course, of being hit and having that concentration broken. As a wizard, you're not. I guess you're maybe bonking with a staff. Unless you have a super close range spell. You're very easy to see on the battlefield, and therefore also to avoid. It gives you no cover and would probably make you the target of a lot of spells and other ranged attacks. At least in a group of enemies. Also, good morning to you, Bersilas. It's strong. Is it strong for level 4? I don't know if it's necessarily strong for level 4. Especially because there are also... Now, if your DM isn't playing with intelligence or using tactics, this could get out of control pretty easily. But if there's a character on the map that has swirling spirits 15 feet around him, and like the earth trembles at his or her feet or whatever, that you light yourself up as a target, and as a druid or a wizard, you're not the tank of the party. Sounds like it could be nasty if you mix the martial class in for a multi-attack. Oh, so you mean if you multi-classed and you went, I don't know, like monk druid? You went monk druid and you were just pa 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 as a bear. You had a flurry of blows. It worked for Kung Fu Panda. Get a multi-attack wild-shaped form as a moon druid. Well, I don't know. Let's take a quick look. By the way, I can't say enough how great this is. This is the rules lawyer section where you can go and you're getting definitive answers for this. This is wonderful. And it's not in small, obscure print. Is there something that gets a multi-attack here? Bite, hooves, tentacles. Lion, CR1 gets a multi-attack. The lion makes 2 rend attacks. It can replace one of those attacks with a use of roar. (1d8 plus 3). So if they both hit, then that would be 6d8. 6d8 plus 6 if you're a lion. And how does that compare? I don't know. What would be a damage spell that could... So it would be 9d6. So what would that be? 7, 14, 21, 28, plus, so, I don't know, 31, 32 for a level 4 fireball compared to 6d8. So that's 27. Okay, so it'd be about equal damage output. If you're a lion with multi-attack and you're attacking inside that zone, your damage is about equal to a fireball at level 4. So that seems consistent. And of course they have different benefits. You know, you could stand back. Yeah, it consumes 1 slot per fireball. You also could just stand back and it fills an entire area. Whereas the other one, well, you could make all the natural attacks you want in concentration, but you're also in melee to possibly get hit back. You're in melee taking damage. So there's benefits and drawbacks to each, but raw power-wise, yeah, it doesn't do any damage if you miss. And so, yeah, that was presuming that you hit both your lion swipes. So I'd say that's fine. I don't think that's especially powerful, given other options. There's going to be a benefit or a drawback to them. It'll either consume more slots, or you'll be closer and in greater danger, or something else. Brown Bear could do the same thing, Pete. Yep. So hopefully we address that concern. But I'll tell you what, I got to get up. I'm going to walk around a little bit. I'm going to take another quick break. I think while I'm up, we're in the last hour, that if any of you want to do Pokemon Go trades, let's get that done for the day. And I'll put this up, and we can go back and we can review rules. We can go over theory crafting. If you want to do a little bit of math and calculate things, then we can do that too. But let's spend some more time together. I will be back in just a little bit. Let me stretch and go from there. Okay, everyone?